You have not had a quiet life, even though the work that you do comes from a quiet place. You lived in a family, first of all. Well, your father divorced your mother.
Yeah, this is sort of pretty 50-50, that. And it wasn't a loveless marriage even at that time. But a trauma for the children, sure.
Yeah. Then she remarried.
Yeah.
And the last 15 years of your father's life came back.
Yes, it was a kind of...
With her husband.
With her third husband.
Right.
It's if the wedge fits. He was phobic about being alone. He needed family or trusted friends around him all the time. And my mother and stepfather had no money and couldn't afford to live in London, etc. So my brother and I engineered this menage-a-trois, completely chaste, of course, between my father and mother. And we thought, we had a very sticky start at the first dinner when we tried to sort of hammer this out.
Yes.
And my brother and I thought, well...
And who's making the rules?
Yeah. Well, yes, it was weird, but my brother and I thought this might last for 6 months if we're lucky.
15 years.
15 years. And
made his life better.
Oh, yes, and gave him back. He went into a real misogynistic trough when his second wife left him, the novelist Elizabeth Jane Howard. And I thought he was finished artistically because, he seemed... A writer has to be both a man and a woman. And Kingsley had dismissed the feminine side of the world and of his own nature. Tremendously limiting for an artist, that. And I thought he was done for. I was in despair. But when my mother came back into his life, she reminded him of the primary value, what he'd always maintained was the primary value, which was love. And although he never had another woman, never had another relationship in the last 15 years of his life, he did write those novels, and he wrote his greatest novel, The Old Devils.
When he was 65,
7.
I find that just remarkable.
Yes.
And much to be applauded.
Yeah. Although I think there's going to be a great run of, the novel has to catch up with medical science now. If we went through the great classics of literature, you'd be astonished by how young the writers were when they wrote. War and Peace, 35.
I wouldn't be astonished at all. I think I would find that to be probably true, that most of the best works were written when people were young.
Pride and Prejudice, 19.
19?
Yeah. The bulk of it was written when she was 19. But now we have, Ravelstein, written by...
84-year-old. So how old is he?
He's 84. Yeah. 85 any day now. The span will increase.
And how good do you think it is?
Ravelstein, yeah. Absolutely wonderful.
As you just said, it brought you exhilaration and joy and
but also, because
you were the ideal reader.
Yeah, I was the ideal reader, but let us mention the age question. That book seems to me to have a kind of a tremulous, crystallized music that the world has never seen before. I don't think anyone's written a novel from that vantage, and it's a thrilling voice and a very beautiful voice.
I've been trying to get him to come here and talk about it, so maybe you can weigh in on my side.
I'll have a word with it. I'll sort it out.
When you left your wife to go with the woman that this book is dedicated to, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person who you sought out as a sounding board, as a heartfelt, confidence,
yes.
Your father.
Yeah. He performed, and he didn't need it. He was 70, and he didn't need more disruption. Also, I was the third of his children, of his 3 children, to fail in marriage, as he had failed. But he completely accepted me in my new reality, and was the person I could talk to with most ease about the most painful things. there was a kind of symmetry involved in that, you know, he'd done it to me. What I felt, you know, mostly terrible about was my children,
Sure.
my boys, and he saw me through. He completed his fatherly duty and very much helped me through that.